Thank you for spending some time with us in Stender Thoughts. I always ask myself, what would Maimonides say? What would Rambam teach us? And we're dealing with the violent action that's taking place right now. No reason to quote it. That's Israel's response to the bombings of Sderot, the attacks on Sderot and other cities in the south of Israel, and the attack on Gaza. Is this a moral action or not? How can we understand this? To understand what Maimonides would say, we go to the biblical text, the famous story of Dinah and her brothers. Dinah was taken and raped by the clan of Shechem, terrible kidnap rape situation. And even though there's an attempt at a resolution by that city, by the patriarch of that city, and in fact a circumcision of all the males, maybe will mix with the Hebrew tribe. What happens then is that Shimon and Levi exact a terrible revenge. As the males are recuperating from their circumcision, they take them out, they wipe them out. Jacob is appalled. He says, "You have put me in a very, very precarious situation in terms of the environment. Everyone will speak against me. And in fact, you have brought trouble on me to make me odious amongst the inhabitants of the land, amongst the Canaanite and the Perizi. How will I be able to do this? Va'ani b'tei bispar. And I am very few. V'dasfu alai v'ikuni. And they all come and turn against me. V'ishmarti ani uveiti. And how will be v'ishmarati ani uveiti? How I will be destroyed, myself and my family." In other words, just even not just from the situation of considering it from a moral point of view, also in terms of it's really practically problematic. We feel some of this. How could this be? Is it moral to do what we have done or what we're doing right now in the bombings? Is it also a position of strength, or is it a position of weakness? Are we put ourselves to be odious amongst the nations of the world? The brothers respond back, "Hachazonah yaseh et achotenu." Will you make our sister only into a harlot, one who is just cast off, anyone can touch her, and be unprotected? So too we ask about the cities of Sderot. Are they be unprotected? In the biblical text itself, there is no full resolution at this point about who's right. Is Jacob right, or Shimon and Levi is right? Which way? But we have what Maimonides says. And Maimonides, in his Hilchot Melachim, the Laws of Kings, very at the end of his famous opus, the Mishnah Torah, says the following. When he says, regarding the obligations of communities, that all communities, Jewish and non-Jewish, but here he's speaking non-Jewish, are mitzuvin hein al adinin, that they're obligated to have a just society, and therefore chayavim hoshiv dayanim v'shavtim b'chol plach u'plach. They must put forward judges and those who will execute judgment in every situation. And if they don't do so, then they are culpable. And look, he says, because of this, nitchayvu kol baalei Shechem hariga. All the members, in fact, all the citizens of that city of Shechem, actually all of them deserved the death penalty. Why? Shaharei Shechem gazal. Shechem stole, meaning he kidnapped Dinah. And he raped her. V'heim ra'u, and the city saw. V'yadu, and they knew. V'lo danuhu, and they did not judge him at all. In other words, they were co-conspirators. They were facilitators. They allowed this to happen. At this moment, in which you talk about years of rocket attacks against Sderot, and now rocket attacks against other parts of Ashkelon, of other parts of the south, including Ashkelon. When we see not just the damage, physical damage, but we see the moral damage, we see the mental damage, emotional damage, and the terrible loss of Jewish lives. We say, where is the city of Gaza in this? Well, democratically elected leaders of that city who made clear what their program was. And their program was a pogrom against Jewish citizens. They themselves have made this decision. And as bloody and as terrible as war is or military action is, according to the Rambam, what would the Rambam say? The Rambam would say this act is justified. The Rambam, in fact, says, the Rambam goes like the brothers of Dina and says your revenge was correct. Your reaction is correct. The Rambam, in fact, goes very far. The Rambam says the entire citizens. This is very different than what Israel's doing right now. Israel's targeting and very carefully targeting all its responses against members of Hamas. Even Al Jazeera says so. In that case, what would the Rambam say? The Rambam would say, when there's no other choice, when people have been warned and people will not stop, we must defend our own. That's what the Rambam would say. I wish the tender thoughts today were more tender. I look forward to continuing the discussion with you.